Okay, in the last video we talked about consecutive integer problems. So a specific type of word problem, and we set it up using x and x plus 1, because x is our first number that we don't yet know, and then we say plus 1 for the consecutive, for the next one. But what if the problem said consecutive even integers, or perhaps odd, that we'll talk about in a moment. So let's say it says consecutive even integers. Well, we start off the same. There's some integer that we don't yet know. So we're going to call it x. But is the next integer going to be x plus 1? Nope. Why? Because even numbers jump by 2's, right? Consecutive would be adding 1. But if I'm dealing with 8, 10, 12, 14, whatever my even integer is, my next one is going to be x plus 2. Very important to keep that in mind and to look closely at the wording of the problem. Sometimes it'll say consecutive, sometimes it might say even, sometimes it might say odd. Whatever it might be, notice those words. So if the problem is saying the sum of two consecutive even integers, equals 54, let's say. Well, just like yesterday, we want to add them up. 2x plus 2 equals 54. Now that looks like something familiar. We've turned our words into symbols. I can subtract 2 from both sides. Divide by 2. X equals 26. And what's the next even integer after 26? 28. Because x plus 2 takes us to 28. And let's just double check our work. Is 26 plus 28 equal to 54? Yes, it is. Perfect. Now, what if it says odd? What if the problem told me that I have the sum of two consecutive odd integers, and instead of 54, let's say I made it negative 36. Okay, we're going to start the same way. What's our first integer? Don't know, so we call it x. But what's the next one? Think for a moment, what's the pattern with odd numbers? 7, 9, 11, 13. They also jump by 2's. This part is going to sound a little weird. But so the next number is also x plus 2. Right? Even though they're odd, what's this plus 2 telling me? It's telling me the jump. What's the jump from one number to the next with odd integers? Also 2. Also a jump of 2, just like with even numbers. Okay, so now I have x and x plus 2, and I have the sum is negative 36. This part is getting familiar. Subtract 2 from both sides. Negative 36 minus 2 takes us to negative 38. Divide by 2. And I get x is negative 19. What's the next integer, the next odd integer after negative 19? Jump by 2 up. Right, double check. Make sure you're adding and subtracting integers correctly. So I have negative 19 and negative 17. If I add those up, do I get negative 36? Negative 19 plus negative 17, whatever trick, whatever system you have about adding negative integers, you can use it here. And in fact, I do get negative 36 as my sum.